Hello there. I believe you are blessed wherever you are, all over the world, regardless of the color of the skin, tribe, or nation. Right, I would love to say blessed week in advance because I know to others it's Monday morning, others it will be Monday in few hours. Right, I would love to say to the Christianity world, hang on there. Jesus is our answer. You help me with the fen. Jesus is our answer. I would love to say, kneel down and pray. God is the only solution. Right, I would love to, I believe I've been busy. I'm having a lot of projects that I'm doing. So we are busy building our live studio. By the grace of God, I didn't want to do table conference here. I wanted you to see me in beauty in our another new place. But unfortunately, we are taking longer, so I said, no, let me do table conference. Right, I would love to take you to the Zim prophecies. I want to talk about Zim prophecies. I want to talk about what God has been saying. I was watching, I have heard a lot of people asking a lot of questions in comments and in many ways. People saying a lot of things. So I would love to say to you, I would love to explain. I'm not going to play a lot of prophecies, but I will take you back to the prophecies on YouTube that God has said. I believe you connected that side, my son. You allow it to blow. Only coming this side is fine. Sorry about that. The prophecies that God said, I believe, I remember early last year, I said in a vision, it was last year, no, early this year, that is the opposition party a guy ready to rule. Then in another vision, another prophecy again, I say, don't put your trust in ballots, but put your trust in the Lord. Then when the elections were about to happen, I say, if I prophesy that who's going to win in Zim, I'll be letting myself down. That's the prophecy that we're going to play. Right, the last one I said, the opposition party leader, he must go to his drawing board and start calculating, and check what is he supposed to do and what is he not supposed to do. Thank you. So now, I want to take you to this prophecy. Before I take you to this prophecy, I would love to say to Zim people, the matter of Zim, it needs God. It needs divine intervention. It needs God to intervene. But I will say to the opposition leader, if I was him, I was gonna go down on the drawing board and calculate, add and subtract, and remove a lot of things that are supposed to be removed and a lot of things that they are supposed to be added. Because at the end, no matter you can be running. The last prophecy I said, in 5 years coming, he's not gonna be a sweetheart to many people's heart. There will be someone who will be raised by God. If it doesn't go to the drawing board and add and subtract, that's the prophecy I had a lot of people making noise about. Why are you saying that? Others, they're saying you are fine. The really issue is not, I'm not saying these things for people to love me or for people to say whatever they are thinking. But I'll be saying these things because I'll be speaking the mind of God. Right, I will say to him, if I was him, I was going to go down now. The first thing that he's supposed to revisit is how he's running his organization. That's the thing that I was talking about on that vision. Remember that vision, I saw him driving a white car, but there was a man who was making decision. Not him making decision, he was failing even to make a U-turn. There was a pillar that was blocking his tires to make a U-turn. Same applies later when I say to him, you have to revisit and check and add and subtract. There are a lot of things that they need to be corrected, or you have to revisit a lot of things there, revisit a lot of things in his political career. I always say you can't be a pastor, you can't be a prophet, you can't be a man of God, you can't be a politician. At the same time, even devil is gifted like that. Devil, he was a cherubim. He was a cherubim. He was having eyes all over. He was full of knowledge. But there are things that God didn't give it to him. So same applies to him. I spoke to many politicians. I don't want to say names because I need to protect a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of politicians from Zim, others, they are former ZANU people, others, they are in opposition party. I'm talking about influential people here. People who are having high ranks in these places and people who are well known. I've spoken to them. They were asking me a question, that's why I did this table conference. What is he supposed to change, men of God? I said, no. He's not supposed to change himself. But he has to have a bone. You know, a meat with a bone is a meat that you cook it for a long time. And a meat with a bone, when you are eating, it lasts longer than a meat without a bone. Why? Because you have to figure out how you maneuver the bone for you to be fine. Same applies his politics. I believe his politics he needs to revisit his politics. First year, I remember I said, he has to be a leader there. This joint venture of them joining one another, it's fine, but it won't show him his leadership. Because a leader is the one who's ready to suffer for his people, and the leader is the leader who's ready to put his life in danger for his people. I will take you to the book of John 15 in verse 13. Jesus is saying, a true friend is the one who lays his life down for another friend. He said to his disciples, now I call you my friends because I've told you everything that I heard from my Father. So Jesus was, when you talk about leadership, we have to talk about Jesus, how he became a leader. So when people they've been asking, I've been telling them I'm busy with other things. I have to finish our year, our church in a better state because I have a lot of projects that I'm doing. So I'm focusing there. But when they were persisting asking me, I end up saying, okay, let me come and clear the confusion here. I'm not saying to him you must demolish his part or whatever. But I'm saying to him he has to revisit a lot of things. If he doesn't do that, God is saying to me, the last prophets, that God will raise someone that will take over. Remember the days of Morgan. I need you to be aware. There is a time that God gives you leadership. If it doesn't use it proper, you end up losing that thing. Remember Saul, how God end up taking leadership. So I will say to him, those who are asking me, let him revisit his leadership and revisit his political career and find a spiritual guidance. He can't know everything. He can't be a pastor. He can't be a politician. He can't be a prophet. He can't be everything. Only devil, a cherubim, was given all that. I believe there is somewhere where he's supposed to say, here I need divine. I need to listen. That's what I say to those people who are closer to him. I say, no. The issue, he needs to listen to other people. They say, no, he doesn't listen. I say, no, he is younger. No, he's too young not to listen to people. Because the moment he doesn't listen at his age, he will do a lot of mistakes. That will make God to end up taking what he thinks that God, or what God is supposed to give it to him, and give it to another person. Then they say, now we understand. I say, okay, you understand. He has to listen because a leader is created by people. People are surrounding a leader. They are the ones who create a leader. They are the ones who destroy leadership. You want God to raise you. You want God to transform you. The leader is people who are surrounding. People who surrounded Saul, they fooled him to turn against Saul. So it was people That made Saul. That's why Saul said, I was afraid of people. Meaning that Saul was surrounded by friends and people who were fooling him. That if you do this, people they will say this. If you do this, you will look weak. Same applies to him. For him to look for advices, I don't think it shows weakness. It shows wisdom. It shows wisdom, believe me. In these 5 years that will happen, this journey. Remember in that prophecy I say, no matter he can go to court, he will be wasting his time. Before he even say he's not taking that way, I say, no, you'll be wasting his time. Going to court is just wasting his time. Nothing will happen. So now, since everyone is getting along now with, we are going to be in this confusion for 5 years again. What is he supposed to do as a leader? That's the question. What is he supposed to do as a leader? He needs to go to the drawing board and find people who are not his friends, who are going to tell him straight, direct, what God is thinking and what God is saying about him. Does God agrees with him for him to be leadership? Let me tell something. There is an investment that we invest, a wrong investment. I remember I was telling one of my white friends overseas, I say, let me tell you something. There are investments that we do under the sun that are very stupid. We invest in wrong things. Same applies. I saw people were being beaten, others they were being bent or whatever there. We prayed that, we thank God that no matter they say there was no violence that is like before. But if you are a leader now, you have to be a meat with a bone, that you can lead your people. He has to be ready to stand for his people. I believe I'm clear here. He has to be ready to stand for his people and for his party. Not to just agree with anything and lock the doors in his house. I was talking to one member, talking to other people who are closer to him. They were telling me that he says people, they must go outside and start noise. A leader must wear overall and go there and make noise. Look where this Julius Malema. He wears that thing and go and make noise there. In that part of AFF, people, they are afraid of Julius Malema. They are not afraid of anyone. So that's leadership. When you are a leader, you have to sacrifice yourself. No matter you are promising people things that are not existing, but people, they want your leadership. So that's the thing that I need him to do. He must revisit his political career. I don't want him to waste time like Morgan. Remember Morgan Tsvangirai? I told them about Morgan Tsvangirai. I said, he's not going to lead the country 2010. They said, no, he's having support. I said, no. Even Michael Jackson, he was gathering people, but he was a fool. I've seen fools who gather people outside. It doesn't mean when you gather people, you are not a fool, you are wise. People, they follow everything that they want to follow. But it doesn't mean that people, they agree with you. Crowd doesn't give you leadership automatically. No, people, they can follow anything. But leadership comes from God. That's why I'm saying I need him to revisit. He visit his leadership for him to find divine intervention. I will take you about George Weah, they call Liberia what? When he was about to be a president, he went to T.B. Joshua. Why he went to T.B. Joshua? He wanted to know, does God wants me to be a leader or not? And he found his answer. I will take you to Tanzanian president who died, Magufuli, or they call him Magufuli. He went to T.B. Joshua again. So same applies to him. As a prophet of God, I'm giving him advice. Go and hear. Does God wants you to lead? Does God wants you to lead his people? Because at the end, those people belong to God. They don't belong to anyone. Those people, they belong to God. They don't belong to anyone. So, my prophecy that I will play right now is Zim before elections. Many, they were asking, you didn't go straight. But I was straight when I say, if I prophesy who's going to win, I'll be putting myself down. Why? Because I was aware what was going to happen in Zim. That one way or the other, And in this video, you hear me saying, why should I prophesy what they know they will announce? How did I know they know what they will announce? Because God told me they know already the results before people they vote. Why they knew the result before they vote? When your competitor is weak, you can tell. When your competitor doesn't know his or her story, you can tell again. So that's the reality here. He has to revisit. There is nothing that will come on a silver plate. Leadership comes after sweating, not after being ignorant or not after behaving funny, but it comes through sweating. You sweat for God to say, okay, now I trust you. I can give you this. I believe that's where he's supposed to show his supporters. That's where he's supposed to show his people. That you can trust me with your lives. You can trust me with your souls. I believe I can be trusted here. I can go extra miles. Because at the end, no matter he goes and talk on television, that's what people, they don't want to see. People, they want him to show the skills of leadership. I remember I spoke to someone who's closer, very closer to him. I say, your leader is showing leadership skills that he needs to pray for. That's what I can say. Because I was studying the scenario, all what happened, the confusion that happened in elections. But what I saw when he was coming out, when they told the results, I saw confusion on his face. You can tell I am a man of God. I saw confusion in his face no matter he was talking. That is confused. Why? Because he thought maybe something may happen. You know, if you pray and feel like, God is talking to you, it doesn't mean that God is talking to you. And if you are surrounded by people who always tell you lies, they will tell you that you are facing right direction. While you are going to the well, you are going to fail there. You are not going to come out. So he has to revisit his leadership. Show his people leadership skills. That's what I was saying in this video. Right, let me take you to this video. Let's hear what God said. Play there. Play. right. When you hear here, I'm saying put your trust in the Lord. Your salvation is in the Lord. Go and check all my prophecies about Zim. I've been telling the Zim, I say, Zim people, put your trust in the Lord. Your deliverance shall come from above, not from a human being. I believe these elections, many people, they've lost hope. And many people, I've spoken to many people. What I will say to those who are following the opposition, I will say to them, it's time. Your leader, he visits the drawing board, and separate. Then he goes again and seek for divine intervention, so that he may understand or know, does God agree with him for him to be a president? That's the question. Because as all prophets they've been prophesying, breakthrough shall come. Yes, change shall come. But how change is it gonna come? How? That's the most important thing. Who's gonna be used by God to bring change? Is it him? As I said, 2010, Morgan wasn't gonna win. People they say, no, he's gonna win. He's everything. I said, no, he's not appointed and anointed to lead the country. They say, well, I say, I saw him one day only, but this man, God told me, he's not gonna rule that country. I remember we were in church, in our second church. Others, they were even angry because I say, you can be angry, but listen to me. He's not going to rule the country because God must anoint you to lead. God must trust you with people. He has to revisit. As I'm telling you, here you heard what I said. Put your trust in the Lord. Because if you put a trust in a human being, when you get disappointed, you don't recover anymore. I've spoken to a lot of people who have already lost hope. I said, no, have hope. There is hope even in a tree. Job 14, verse 7. There is hope in a tree. So if trees, they have hope. Have hope. I've been telling them, have hope. God shall deliver you. But how God is he going to bring deliverance? That's the question that you are supposed to ask. And through who? As I said after elections, that he's not going to be a sweetheart in 5 years coming. If he doesn't revisit his political area and check, add and subtract, there will be a problem in 5 years. He will find himself number 3 in people's heart. So that's the thing that I was saying. Many, they said, no, you always say bad things about. I said, no, it's not personal. You take prophets personal, you are going to suffer from a heart problem. Because what we say is what we hear. What we come and say is what we hear. It's not what we think. How did I know that they know results? If you hear this prophecy. Because it was 3 days or 4 days before Zim elections. How did I know their results? Because I was away. And you hear me here, I'm taking you to the vision. I'm saying the vision that I saw won't change. Because in a vision, God made me clear there are a lot of things that is supposed to change. So if God is saying you must change a lot of things, it means that there are a lot of things that you are supposed to sort before God trusts you. I believe I'm clear right now. And I pray that those who are surrounding him, they stop fooling him. He's a prophet same time. It doesn't work like that. Politics and church doesn't mix. That's why people who are preaching straight gospel, they run away from politics. Why? Because I always tell people, politics destroys Christianity. If you mix politics and Christianity, politics will swallow Christianity because they come with influence of money and everything. So I refuse that a pastor can be a politician and preach on Sunday. Because in politics, you must learn how to lie. And you must learn how to be a crook. I don't think that a crook can be trusted by God every Sunday and be prophesying and be seeing vision. I don't think so. He must go back to his drawing board. If he does that, soon before later, you are not going to see someone being raised. But if he doesn't do that, among the people whom he knows, one will be raised, who will be a sweetheart, and bury his status, and bury his fame, and become number one. To those elections that will come, he will find himself struggling to copy, not competing with the ruling party, but competing with the competitor that God has created. That was my point that day. That was the point of that prophecy. I'm not going to play it here. It's there on YouTube. It's there on Facebook. Just check where I say it. It's not going to be a sweetheart. Many, if it doesn't change, that's what they were asking me. What do you mean about change? I said, you must revisit. There are things that God did. Here, this one I played for you to hear that I didn't prophesy. I said what I saw in a vision. It won't change. Meaning what I saw few months ago about elections, it's not going to change today because we are going to elections. Regardless, there are many people who have prophesied that is going to win. That was a fairy tale. That was just a story. That was just a lie. You know, people, when they are afraid of you or they love you or they buy your face, they tell you good things all the time. But when you find people who really loves you, genuine loves you, they tell you bad things that you don't want to hear, but they will be good to you because they will save you tomorrow. So I'm saying to him, that's the thing. Those who are closer to him, I'm having a lot of politicians that I talk to, especially in Zim, opposition and others. I talk to them, I answer them. I told, I'm not a politician. I'm not buying any side here. I want freedom of people because Jesus, he came down for freedom. If people, they are not liberated, then God, it means that Jesus, he died for nothing. So that's the thing that I can say to him. Let him go back to a drawing board and check Eden separate and be a leader and lead his part. A leader is one who can lay down his life. A leader is the one who can lead by an example going outside. A leader is the one who can face hardship and face challenges, not through television, not through a whatever. He has to show his leadership. Otherwise, if he doesn't do that, he's going to find himself having a big problem in a few years coming. There will be another new party that will be people, all those who are with him now, they will move and join that party. Then he will be wiped out of politics. He won't exist. Remember Morgan, I said to people when he became a prime minister, I said, hey, he has done a problem to agree in this. He's finished. People, they didn't understand why I was saying he's finished. Later they discovered that he was finished. He was finished. He finished himself. Decision making. So he has to be wiser and make right decision and seek divine intervention. Those people who love him, who are closer to him, even those who are talking to me, if you see this video, just advise him. Let him understand. He can't know everything. And he can't have all wisdom that he needs. He needs other people to stand. That's what I can say. I was here to advise, to explain the prophecies, these two prophecies, three prophecies, what God said. Nothing has changed. I was going from one step to another. Nothing got changed. Until I say you must check, be careful. It's not going to be a sweetheart. So I'm saying to you, if you are from Sim, put your trust in the Lord. As I always say, only God will bring your deliverance. And only God shall change your situation. Not a man. If you put your trust in a man, believe me, you are going to be disappointed. Politics is a game that is played by few people. It affects a lot of millions. Politics is a game that plays by few individuals, greedy individuals, and affects a lot of innocent people. So be aware. I'm saying to those who are closer to him, it's time. Still have time, still have a period for him to revisit, go to the drawing board, be a leader, aid and separate. Go and seek divine and hear what God is saying about him. Is he going to lead or not? That's what he's supposed to know. Otherwise, those who are investing, those who are supporting, you may find that you are running the race, the wrong race, or you are running the wrong race, the right race ran 2 days or 3 days, 5 days ago. You are running your race now. You are already late. I told you about Morgan. I don't want you people to run the race like those who ran with Morgan. They discovered that Morgan won't rule. He died without ruling. I remember when he was in hospital, I met the one of my girl, my doctor was nursing him. I said to her, that man, he tried, but he never tried enough because God wasn't on his side for him to rule that country. But he tried. He was there to pave a way. So let him not to be there again to pave a way, but for God to tell him, are you the really candidate or whatever? Otherwise, someone will be raised. I'm saying to you, be blessed wherever you are. You pray for him. I know I've received a lot of messages. I heard that a lot of things are shutting down. Things are not going well. But I'm saying, only a prayer shall bring salvation. I'm not going to give you a hope, a false hope, and say whatever. Your salvation will come from north, east, south, west. It will come from above. You must go this opposition and revisit and be a leader. That thing of saying people, they must go outside, they first be beaten, him, he will come later. It doesn't work like that. A leader goes outside and be beaten for him to show the leadership skills. So that's the only thing. They reminded me, I was talking, they say he was beaten. I said, maybe they made him to be afraid by that time. But if you know what you need, you fight until to the end. My strategy is this: push until you get it right. That's the world I live on. When I need something, I pray to God, I push and then until I get it right. No matter how hard it is, I rather reach with bruises where I'm going than to fail God Almighty. I'm saying, be blessed there in Zim. Let him go to the drop boat and aid and separate and show leadership. That's the only thing. If he doesn't do that, the replacement is coming. Watch, we'll be talking about this in few years coming, that there is someone who God has raised. People, they are no longer on his side. They are joining so and so. That will be the problem. If you see that happening, there will be chaos again in Zim political era. I'm saying, be blessed. Remember, don't forget to like and to share. I'm saying to you, remember, just loves you. So do I. May God bless you. Thank you.